All right, what's going on, everyone? Mechanic Dave. What are we doing this time? Well, we're making the car faster. That's right. We got a new carburetor to install. We have a new intake to install. I got an AFR gauge that'll help us tune the thing. We're going to do some fiddle fuckery with coolant and I think oil pressure gauges and how those all get routed. We're gonna mock up nitrous. That's right, we're putting nitrous in this bitch. This glorious whore. I think I'm gonna jet it for a 150 shot. The dude who built the motor said it's good for 100, so I figured 150 is probably its limit. That's probably gonna blow it up, isn't it? Yeah. But anyways, we'll get to ripping this thing all apart. You see this? This is RTV. This is what mechanics use when they don't have or they can't afford gaskets. And it looks to me like he just the whole thing. Where is it? He did it for up here too. I already cleaned that. So he just the whole thing and just right on. Don't mind my hand. I had an incident with a thing, and it damn near broke my arm, but I'm still wrenching. So, see, we used a little bit of RTV. Focus right there. We used a little bit of RTV right there, but notice how it's not all over. You can still see cork from the gas. Oh, that's the valve cover gasket, but there's still a gasket in there. So a little bit of information on Edelbrock aluminum intakes. You got all these casting numbers on the bottom here. This one, 2921, that's your model number. That tells you, go down here, that it's a Victor Jr. designed for a 289-302 non-EGR. Another cool thing about the box, if you have your box, it'll tell you when your thing was made and at what time. This was made in 2013 at 7:30 in the morning. Cool. This stamp right here says EFI. Obviously, this can take a carbureted application. Let me just move this over. So we have these right there. Those are designed where you drill those out and you put in your fuel injector, and then you put on a throttle body on the top, kind of like what you'd see on a 90s GM truck, you know. So you can run a carburetor on this. You can even run Sniper EFI on this. But in the olden days, you would drill your intake, throw in your injectors, throw on a throttle body, and you just converted your carburetor intake to a fuel injected intake. So that's pretty cool. And another nice thing about the Edelbrock intakes is they will usually come with a little dot where you can drill. And in this application, we are going to be drilling that for our aftermarket temperature sensor, which in the process of being removed, fucking snapped. Luckily though, it's just copper, and I think you just solder it back on. So I'm going to try soldering it back on because I really don't feel like taking apart the fucking gauge cluster to replace one gauge. Now, granted, I have to take apart the gauge cluster to remove that fuel gauge that's not hooked up to replace that with an AFR gauge, but I still don't want to do it. So we're going to try and fix this because it's still a good sensor and the gauge is still good. It's just this was installed on like 2 or 3 different intakes, and obviously you twist metal enough times it'll just snap right off, but I think we can fix it. I'm gonna have to go buy another tap and die set, and let's see, we're using a 5/8. I don't know where I put the sensor. Oh wait, yes I do. Fucking moron. Really nice snap-on rethreading kit. I'll tell you the sizes of what you need. So this is 5/8 by 18 or 1.8 thread. So we're gonna get that tap, drill that out, thread it, and hopefully it goes in without any issue and won't leak. I've never tapped an intake before, so that'll be new for me. One other thing we're gonna end up doing, no, don't send those flying. We're going to be measuring the intake runners on the Edelbrock Victor Jr. versus the Y-end. I still don't really know what number this is, an 8011, but I can't find a ton of information on it. And I know that these intake runners were larger than, what fucking intake did I have on before? I can't remember. There was the stock cast iron intake on the 302. That was removed. What the fuck? Edelbrock Performer 289. That's what was on it before, and the ports on that were smaller than the Y-end, so we put the Y-end on that. Obviously, it had the old man's 306 that I blew up. So, cast iron, Performer 289, Y-end, Victor Jr. That's 4 intakes this car has gone through on 3 different engines. I don't know if that's... One more quick thing. This wire is for the electric choke, which on that carburetor, see that big horn thing? That's the choke. It doesn't work. We rewired that choke. We tried making it work. It clearly doesn't work. So we're just gonna tuck that away. And we're gonna put on a Holley carburetor with no choke. Why? Well, it's not really driven in cold weather much. And even when it is driven in cold weather, it still doesn't fucking work. So I'm just not even gonna bother. And it's at least $40 cheaper. So we're gonna go with that. I'm not quite sure which carburetor I'm gonna go with, if I want a Brawler or a Demon or a Street HP. But it's definitely gonna be a 4150, 650 CFM, mechanical secondary, dual fuel inlet. Those are all my basic needs, because I would really like to be able to reuse this fuel line. So, and then this carburetor, the 750, is going to eventually make its way onto the Bronco with a 460 big block, or tunnel ram. Can you imagine a tunnel ram with dual 750 carbs on a fucking 460 Bronco on 37s? Oh, I love it. All right, so we have the intake kind of just wedged in there right now. We got the nitrous plate on. These are going to be our mock-up 2-inch spacer, roughly. If I can get it on there. Oh my God, that fucking hurts. Yeah, hit it with your hand. All right. God damn it. Now, the carburetor. Oh, the fucking thing's heavy. And of course it's backwards. Get that placed on like so. All right, moment of truth. Boom. And that's why I took the scoop off. Yeah, all right. So I can tell you the air cleaner isn't even going to fit. Nope. So 2-inch spacer is out of the idea, but I'm curious of how tall I can get it with all those spacers plus my 3-inch spacer. High rise, nitrous plate, 2-inch spacer, 3-inch spacer, carburetor. Oh. Oh man. Oh man. That's gonna fit. Hang on, we need to get the giant fucking, where's the big, the tall air cleaner. Get rid of that thing. Now we can make it fit. Oh no. What have I done? Oh my goodness. Would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Oh, what an incredible view. That is amazing. I kind of want to do this now. I'm not, oh, I can't. I just can't. I know it'll make terrible power. Oh, no. But it just looks so good. That's absolutely ridiculous. All right, so here's what's going to have to end up happening. It's not going to clear the scoop with any kind of spacer except for just the nitrous plate. It doesn't make a huge deal. I was worried about fuel vaporization and it getting hot. I've had problems with this thing boiling the fuel. Maybe I won't get that issue with the new carburetor and an aluminum nitrous plate, but that's just what's gonna have to happen. It's the only way it's gonna clear the scoop with any kind of air cleaner. This is the smallest air filter I have. Well, that's a lie, but it's the smallest K&N I have. And I will run nothing else because, you know, there's a sticker on the side of the car. So it's not really fully seated. I need to take the valve covers off to get it to really seat, but even so. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the scoop back on. Not have to worry about changing the hood at all, which is what I was kind of worrying about. So I think we're good. All right, it's been one hell of a day, one hell of a busy day, but the intake is on. We have the thermostat all installed. And if you'll notice, there's a couple new things. This is actually a part from just the hardware store. It's a 45-degree bend, make my coolant hose a little bit less kinked. One issue is that the fuel line gets right in the way, but we're changing the carburetor anyways. So who knows, that might not even be a thing. We have our temperature sensor figured out. We didn't end up sending the intake out to get ported. I believe the measurements on it was 27.88 and the head was like 28. So I didn't feel like doing it. Didn't feel like spending the money. So we just got a T on there. There's going to be our electric sensor there and our mechanical sensor. I actually broke it. And you can't just solder it back on. But miraculously, I don't know where the fuck it is. Miraculously, I had this little guy sitting around, Sun Pro gauge. Actually got it out of the black 89 Bronco that I parted out to build OJ. So that was a pretty good score. Used parts, and it's functional. It's the right size. Everything's right about it. So that's going to get installed. And the cooling system should be all set. Next big thing is running nitrous. All right, so I just put the that old Sun Pro gauge in there, and all I need to do is route it where that one went, and we should be all set. Next is going to be getting rid of this fuel gauge that was never actually hooked up, and installing this wideband air-fuel ratio gauge. So we have instruction manuals, which we don't need those. And we have a O2 sensor. We have a harness. We have some grommets. That's a light. And some stuffs. And, oh, they gave me stickers. This is the sticker collection. That's private. So what this little guy's gonna do is this is gonna help us with tuning the engine. We probably want to see it about in between 12 and 14, somewhere in that general area. I don't know. I know nothing about these things. So I'm actually going to probably read these things. Disconnect battery cable. Done. All right. So we have our empty nitrous bottle just kind of mocked up right now. I cut a little square in the carpet just because I hate drilling through carpet. It makes a fucking mess. And this thing needs to be replaced anyways. It's got a melty hole right there. It's held in. Yeah, those suck to do. And it doesn't quite line up over there, so I'm not really worried about cutting it up. So all we need to do right now is screw it in. I think what we're going to do, we're going to have an AN line probably come out. And I don't know if I want the gauge out here or not, but I definitely want a nitrous level gauge so I can at least see how empty it gets. And then we're just gonna run AN line all the way up. And Nitrous Express. That's what they give you for instructions. I say, yeah, just use your phone. So there's our solenoids. Blue is for nitrous, red is for fuel. And you always want your fuel facing forward. We're probably just gonna come out of some of that tape. We have the solenoids there, new carburetor. I think we're gonna get a 650 brawler for it, kind of like that. And yeah, should be all good. Should be kosher. Man, should only need to like retard the timing like 3 degrees. So I don't think I need anything severe. 3 degrees isn't much, but who knows? We'll see. I might need to redo the entire ignition system. So that'll be fun. All right, so I messed around with the nitrous for a little bit. I put the jets in for 150 shot. We have the fuel up here, and the nitrous is in the back. I got my solenoids, kind of plumb. Nothing's tight yet. Gonna have to add a purge valve in here, and I think it'd be funny to take the antenna out and put the purge valve through a Bic pen. But what's probably going to happen? Wouldn't it be cool if we could route it like somewhere up there? So when you purge, it's like that would be neat. But yeah, gonna have to buy that. So add that to the fucking list. And I'm probably gonna also need a bunch more AN line. Like I said, I want to put a bottle gauge on it. So, and we'll get a new fuel pump, new pressure regulator. So it should be a relatively straightforward system. So far, it's going pretty easy. You know, it's you select your jets, follow the instructions, and yeah, you're good to go. I'm not a fan of is how it mounts. You would think it mounts flat like that, but because they're different heights, it kind of tilts it. So that's gonna be a little bit of a horror. And I might need to drop the gas tank and nut and bolt that shit because self-tapper is just not sufficient at this point in time. So in here, we have this little switch panel right here. So what I want is nitrous on, purge. Maybe put a little button right there. Call it good. Turn off your purge. And then when you floor, I'm not going to floor, well, my God. When you go all the way down, you open up a switch, wide open switch, and turns on the nitrous. You go faster and all that fun stuff. I don't really want to get a new shifter with a button on it. I like the shifter knob. It's old school. I'm probably going to run the aux cord out somewhere else and right here. I'm going to be wiring in one of these guys, USB ports. So it's going to fit in right there. So I'll actually be able to charge my phone in the car. So that's on the list of shit to do. We'll get there. All right, carburetor time. Oh, look at that gleaming, beautiful thing. We went with a Brawler 650. It's mechanical secondaries. It's a little bit smaller. It's a 650 CFM as opposed to the 750 that was on it before, the quick fuel. It was usually ready to run right out of the box. So we're just gonna hook it up and see what happens. Obviously I had to swap over my fuel rail, and we're gonna get the nice new aftermarket throttle bracket on, and we're gonna see if it runs. Tell you a little about this throttle bracket. This AED, I think it was. It's adjustable back here and up front. You get this nice bracket that goes right into that little horn, and that's your return. Obviously need to put on our little nipple, and it just bolts right to the top of the carburetor. Pretty universal. It's really nice. And it's relatively cheap too. So get yourself one. All right, carburetor is on, throttle is hooked up, choke is hooked up, fuel is hooked up, vacuum advance is hooked up. And I think that means it's ready. All right, fuel system is all primed. There were no leaks. Let's just see if it fires up. Open the doors. Should be good to go. Hey, that's looking better. Look at you running like a champ. Good girl. All right, now it is time to take this fucking turd and send it down the quarter mile and see what it can do. I'm hoping for mid-13s. Yeah, just a small improvements, nothing. I'm not looking to knock off a second. We'll grab our, there's a can. Grab our nice race quip helmet. I don't think I've showed you yet. I'll put you down. Oh. Yes, look at that. Really nice helmet. It wasn't super expensive. Where's the thing to open it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm still getting used to kind of opening it. Haven't had to wear a helmet in ever. So, race quip wasn't too expensive. Oh, yeah.